Hello, everybody, and welcome to another rendition of Chris G Photography. A little bit of a plug. My website is finally up and running, so if you want to go check out my work, it is chrisgphotography.com. Now, my parents decided to be a little bit creative when they named me, and so my name is actually Chris spelled with a K, not a CH. So basically, when I tell people to go check out my website, I'm going to have to come up with something cute to say. And remember, Chris G Photography, that's Chris with a K, not a CH, or something like that. But anyway, sorry to be a bit cheesy there. So I am in a public park not too far from my home. I got back yesterday from a quick road trip, and I was barely gone 24 hours, and I really intended to record this video on the road, but I never found a location that I really liked. No matter what I did, it wasn't right. The light wasn't right, the wind wasn't right, there was heavy truck traffic or what have you. But I still wanted to record this video outside because spring is quickly coming to the Rocky Mountains, and it is such a nice day. And notice that the birds are starting to sing again, so they're starting to show back up here into Colorado. So wanted to do this video outside. But with doing a video outside, I am in a public park, and there's a playground just a few feet to my left, so you never know what you're going to hear. So if something doesn't happen exactly right, my apologies. But anyway, the subject of today's video is it's kind of like a personal reflection, because I wanted to add some equipment to my camera bag, and I had talked to my wife. She was down with it, decided what I wanted to buy, decided on a budget and everything like that. What I wanted was either one of the new Fuji lenses. I believe they came out with a 33 1.4 and possibly a 23 1.4. Well within my budget, and or the one of the Fuji X100 series cameras. The newer ones, and I think I'm trying to remember the model numbers. The more recent ones are the V and the F, and the older ones are the X100, X100T, and X100S. Now, I wouldn't have been able to afford one of the more updated versions, but I was okay with going a few less pixels and just have something a little bit kind of a camera just to be able to shoot on the fly, so to speak, even though oops, just hit the table and rocked the camera, even though I do have this camera and rely on it quite a bit. But at the end of the day, I just couldn't pull the trigger on buying the new equipment. And when I was younger, I had no problem buying new equipment, even if I couldn't afford it, because there were times that I feel that I wasn't able to go out and shoot and be productive. So I found swapping equipment around, changing equipment around, kind of allowed me to improve my photography without taking pictures. And what I think I've determined with my recent reflections is that I was absolutely wrong. Is that switching your equipment around doesn't improve your photography. And I think this is something I've learned because over time, I think I've matured, really. I mean, when I first started photography, I was in my mid-teens, and now this is the first day of March of 2020, and I will turn 50 years old in July. So I know I have matured greatly. So I think that might be part of it. But at the same time, I think with that maturity comes the realization that you're not, spending money, upgrading your stuff isn't going to necessarily make you better at what you do. And I think that's what I came to the realization of, that I've got plenty of stuff in my camera bag. I have got plenty of cameras to get me through. I didn't need any more lenses. I don't need to upgrade to a more improved body or what have you. I mean, I'm shooting my medium format cameras, a GFX 50R. I don't necessarily need at this point to upgrade to the 100 megapixel cameras. Would they be nice for making big enlargements? Of course they would, but they're not going to improve my photography. And so this was kind of an eye-opening thing for me. And I guess what this video is about, and what I really want to say is, upgrading equipment is not going to improve your skills. Getting a new lens isn't going to improve your skills. And I hate to be so blunt with it, but if you're a good photographer, your photographs are going to sell. People are going to like them no matter what they are shot on. And so what I decided to do with that money is I felt it would be better served, better spent actually going out and taking pictures. So that's what I did, and that's what I will continue to do. Now, that doesn't mean to say that I will never upgrade things. I am still looking at one of the X100 series cameras because of my change in styles recently, and so I think it would meet what I do very well. And that leads me into the second subject. If you're looking to shake things up and you think updating your equipment, updating your lenses and everything else might be the answer, let me encourage you to do this. Let me encourage you to change what you do, literally change the subject. Because when I first started in photography, I would call myself a nature photographer. I photographed macro subjects, animals, landscapes, anything that I could find outdoors. But about this time last year, I was on a trip to Florida, and I started realizing that I was passing up a lot of photo opportunities, great opportunities, by just not stopping my car and pulling over, because the situations I were looking at weren't nature photos. I would see something in a small town, something along the road, and I was like, no, I can't stop here because I've got to go. I was heading to the Everglades, so I got to go to the Everglades and take pictures of alligators in the Everglades, passing up a lot of really good photo opportunities. And I think that's something that's also come with my maturity is I don't necessarily want to put a label on what kind of photographer I am anymore. And we might have to for the sake of search engines. In other words, when you Google your name, what pops up, you might have to put a label on yourself. But I don't know that I'm willing to do that anymore, because I am going to literally take pictures of whatever I want. And so if you find yourself in a rut, in a lull, and you're thinking maybe, hey, what if I switch my equipment? What if I move to medium format? What if I move from Fuji to Canon or Nikon to Fuji or whatever it might be? I don't think that's going to get you out of your rut. I really don't, because for this reason, if you are taking a certain type of photography, street photography, wildlife, landscape, nature, whatever it is, if you find that you're in a rut, maybe you're in a rut because no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you're taking the same picture every single time. I mean, in the case of landscape photography, there are a few iconic landscape spots in this world. Here in the U.S., it would obviously be Yosemite, but how many pictures of Yosemite are out there? And what are your odds of getting a good Yosemite shot? And if basically you go out looking for the Yosemite shot every time, I don't care where you're at, I think your pictures are going to eventually start to look the same. How many times can you photograph a stream without them looking the same? And that's really hard for me to say, because I probably tomorrow at some point will go up and try to get some stream photos with some ice and some snow. And the reason I do that is because they're not the typical shots. I'm specifically looking for ice. I'm looking for something different. And although nature photography is my first love, I don't do exclusively nature photography anymore. I just don't feel that it's going to take advantage of what I feel that my skills are and what I love to do, which is basically just take pictures. Now, you might be thinking, Chris, that's all great, but I am an fill in the blank photographer. That's what I do. That's what I know how to do. But I'll tell you what, I don't prescribe to that way of thinking, I guess, because quite honestly, whatever camera and lens you have, this camera does not say this is a blank type of photography camera and this is a blank type of photography lens. The equipment that we use is not labeled as this type of photography, that's the type of photography. You can use it all. Now, yes, there are better combinations for certain things, but it's all going to work doing the same thing. And so if I had to make a suggestion to a new photographer, a photographer stuck in a rut, I would say, don't put a label on yourself. Go out and photograph what you want to photograph. Don't try to be something you're not, and maybe try to be everything that you are and or not. You know, don't let a title or don't let what you think you're good at define or limit your creativity. Because one thing I've noticed about digital photography, and I do what you do, I watch a lot of YouTube, is digital photography has not necessarily opened up the world. I think in a way it's made it smaller, that shadows have to look a certain way, composition has to look a certain way, everything like that. So not only change your subject, but change the way you think about photography. Take a few risks. Photograph things that, quite honestly, and I'm gonna make another video about photos that I just shot on my little 24-hour trip down to Oklahoma. And the favorite photo I took on that whole trip was not one that I was expecting. Take photos of things that you don't expect to be good, and you never know, they might end up being really good. And I guess that's, I'm going to show you pictures in another video, and you might say, yeah, that's good, that's great, or honestly, I don't get it, and that's fine. But taking a risk with your photography is so easy to do now, because quite honestly, if the photo doesn't turn out, delete it from the memory card. That's all you got to do. Back in the day, you had the expense of the film, the expense of the processing, and if it didn't turn out, you threw it in the trash. And so now you can use that memory card infinitum. I mean, you can over and over and over again. And you not only have it, you can take thousands of pictures on a memory card. So experimenting with your photography is not as costly as it used to be. So I really encourage you to do that. So the takeaway from this video is, first off, you don't need new equipment all the time. You don't need to upgrade every time something new comes out, because it's not going to necessarily make your photography better. Number two, change your subject matter. Don't be afraid to shoot outside the line, so to speak. Shoot subjects that are not within what you consider your realm of experience, or what's the word I'm looking for? Realm of expertise. Expertise. There you go. We'll use that. And also, number three, don't be afraid to experiment with your photography. Don't get locked into anything. Experiment with composition, exposure, subject matter. And that is what's really, I think, made my photography progress, is experimenting with subject matter, because my eyes have been opened to a whole new world. My world is not just bull elk and dramatic landscapes and beautiful waterfalls and pretty wildflowers. It is the rust of little towns, what I see when I travel. That's why, and that's really caused me to create a whole new page on my website, which is called By the Roadside, because literally it's pictures I'm taking by the roadside while I'm traveling, and in some cases traveling to places that I intend to take nature photographs. So stop. If your mind is telling you that's a great subject, that's great light, but oh man, I'm not a blank type of photographer, I can't take that picture. Take that picture. If you're a nature photographer and you're traveling, and well, I'm not a travel photographer, so I'm not going to do anything with these pictures. Take those pictures and, quite honestly, sell those pictures, even if it's not what you do, because you know something, it might open your eyes to a whole new world of photography and creativity. And that's what this is about, is creativity. If you are not being creative, if you're not opening yourself up to the ultimate creativity, no matter what that is, whether that's your genre of photography or not, you're limiting your creativity. So for now, my name is Chris. This is Chris G Photography. I should have said this in the beginning, but do me a favor, like, view, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I understand there's a million YouTube channels out there about photography, but help me make mine the 1 millionth and first, and help me grow this into something very, very special. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you out on the road somewhere.